Hello, everybody, and welcome to Sideline to Speedway. Here, I am your host, Mekhi Winfrey, joined by Parker Merrey once again. This is our first Motorsports episode in quite a little bit, um, since our break, of course. Uh, a couple of F1 races have happened. Of course, NASCAR is in their off season, so don't worry, nothing live have you missed. Um, so that is all squared away. Before we get into today's show, of course, Parker, how are you feeling? And it's F1 title week, so we got a title fight on our
Yeah.
hands.
Look, it's F1 title week. I think we all need to kind of take a step back and appreciate what we have because the last time we had a big title battle like this go down to the last race was 2021. And then following that, we had 4 years of complete Red Bull dominance, 3 years of complete Red Bull dominance. And everyone's like, we want a title fight again. Well, guess what? You've got it. And then before 2021, from the period of
20,
2013 to 2021, 2020, 8 years of no title racing. And so this might be our last chance for a while to have a title decider. We honestly don't know. It could be a few years. So we really have to embrace the excitement while we have it.
I'm gonna correct you. There was 7 years there, maybe. Let's not forget the infamous 2016 title
I
fight.
did, yes, I did forget about that. That was a good one.
That
That
would
was a good one. Forgot about that. And
that'd
then
be a
technically
bad mistake.
2014 went down to the
I
last
mean,
race,
there was a
but
couple that went to the last race,
it was
but
because of double points. That's the only reason.
whatever. But either way, uh, it is F1 title championship weekend. We'll see if it'll be either of the McLarens or Max Verstappen standing on both the top step and with a championship trophy. But before we get to any of that, of course, we start with the NASCAR part of our episode. This week, we keep, for everyone wondering, we keep pushing off the NASCAR season review. I promise you, we didn't forget. We're getting to it. It is in the future. Well, we have at this point decided we will line it up with F1s. Makes more sense anyway. But this week, we actually have a very interesting video idea, and it is the NASCAR Prospect Meter. Now, if you're wondering what that is, it's pretty self-explanatory. We took 20, in this case, prospects that we feel are at least worthy enough of being ranked on a well meter. It'll be up and down meter, um, and we will discuss like on 100 to 0 scale, how ready would they be to go cup racing? How good could they be at the cup level? Kind of those types of things mixed together. Um, the funny thing is, we have no idea how we feel about these drivers until we get to them. So like, we both know the drivers, but that's it. You guys are gonna get us our raw answers to these numbers here. So it'll be a fun experiment. I will mention though, Connor Zilic not on this list because he is going cup racing anyway, in 2026. So before we do that, Parker, though, do you have any other comments you want to get out?
Now that's it for me. I'm ready to go.
So, I randomized this list because I could make it boring for you guys and make you sit through about 5 names you maybe don't care about. But no, we're going to keep you on the edge of your seat here, and do it on a little bit of a random basis. The first name up is actually kind of an interesting one. I'm interested to get your opinion here, Parker. Our first prospect is Raja Karuth. Now,
Hmm.
on a 0 to 100 scale, of course, 100, as we previously stated, cup ready, cup talent, and 0 being they are far off. Where do you think you put Karuth on that list?
Um, So going into 2025, I was a lot higher on Caruth, but I kind of feel like he had an underwhelming 2025 campaign. I really felt like the momentum that he had at the end of 2024 going into next year just kind of fell off a little bit. So I'm a little less sure now on Roger Caruth in terms of where I'd place him on a scale of 0 to 100 on how much talent he has. I would probably put him around 40 or 50. I think he's right around the middle. I don't think he has crazy upper level talent, but I also think he could potentially create a good cup career for himself. He just needs to keep moving up the ladder.
Yeah, I feel like he's a prospect. We kind of keep saying it, but he is one that is just has a lot of potential. It feels like at any year he could just break out and have like a really big season. Trucks this season is going to be, in a way, very wide open because Corey Heim's out for the first time in 4 years. So, aside from Christian Eckes, nobody down there has been established in trucks in any of the recent years. So, we'll see how that goes for him. But he's not even truck racing anymore, which is what's funny. So, uh, I mean, I think he might be making some truck starts. So we'll see if he can compete with them at the front there. But really, he's going Xfinity racing. Uh, So we'll be able to see if the cars are going to suit him more at that level. If I had to answer this question though, I'd put him about the same. I think 50 to 40. I'd probably put him at 50, down in the middle. Um, we'll have to see what we're going to get out of him here as the season of 2026 goes on when we get there. Next one up is a really young driver, actually. He is making his first full-time season in 2026. It's Brent Cruz, currently 17-year-old. I think he's out of California, so I know you don't know terribly much about him, but from what you've seen in your little snippets, what do you think?
I think there's a lot of excitement to be had. He's a very highly touted name in the garage. We discussed in the pre-show about his duel with Corey Heim as well. So there's a lot of good things to be had out of Brent Cruz. How old is he exactly?
17 years old.
17. I'm kind of feeling like I'm going to give him an 80 on this prospect list. I think there's a lot of
Really?
upside, a lot of potential there. Now me giving him an 80 doesn't necessarily mean he's cup ready. I just think that 80 is where he would lie on a talent spectrum.
I would like to pump the brakes just a touch on there. I'm going to put him a little lower. I'd put him at like a 70. Um, I think that Brent Cruz is extremely talented. Of course, um, going head to head with Corey Heim at multiple tracks is nothing to scoff at, especially in Corey Heim's series, basically. But I still need to see a full
Corey
season.
Heim series.
It was Corey Heim series. Let's be real here. He won like 12 truck races,
It's
and
the Corey Heim Truck Series.
it
I mean,
was.
we all know what it
Um,
is.
but again, Brent Cruz also suffers from the fact that he's not going truck racing this season. He's going Xfinity racing. So it's a change of pace, different types of cars, different drivers. We'll see how he fares. He's doing 29 of 33 races. He's effectively full time. The only reason he's not because of his age. So I'm sure he'll get a waiver from NASCAR. We'll see if he can win, or if he can make up the point deficit. Probably will need to win. Um, but it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see. I'm going to give him about a 70 though, as we look at our next prospect. Okay, so this one might be one of our lower rated ones, and it's not an insult to him in particular, but I haven't seen very much out of Andreas Perez de Lara. Uh, he's an ARCA champion, of course. He won it in 24. He didn't win a truck race in his first season there last season. Obviously, he switched from Spire to Nice about two-thirds of the way through. So with the little info we have, how do you feel about him?
I'd probably go about a 20, honestly. I'm not feeling a lot here. It just feels like one of those prospects that's kind of just going to ride around for a couple of years, maybe not ever make it to Cup, and so I'm feeling about a 20 on this.
I feel like Perez de Lara is just one of the drivers that suffers from not be he's not Connor Zilic, and he's not Corey Heim, and he's not Jesse Love, meaning he hasn't won a championship in anything, and he hasn't this generational talent, which I think is the big problem in the sport right now, just in general for prospects, which is really making them all look a lot worse than they really are. But I think he suffers from that a lot. Although I haven't seen enough performance out of him for me to be able to give him much of a high rating, I'm going to agree with you here and go 20% to start off. Perez de Lara. Um, the next name on my list is someone that I am very fond of. We've got Christian Eckes.
Yes. Look, you're a big Christian Eckes fan, but honestly, for me, I'm kind of low on Eckes. I feel like he's been around for a while without really like proving to be a top tier talent. I would probably give him a 30 on the talent spectrum. Now, I think
Huh?
Cup readiness, yes, Cup readiness. I think Eckes is more ready for Cup than a lot of the guys we've mentioned so far because he has the experience. But in terms of like his talent rating, I'm not feeling it out of him. I would go maybe higher than 30. Maybe I'd go 40 to 50, but I'm just not feeling it with him. I would feel kind of a lower grade for
I
him.
I think that's crazy to call him lower than Raja Caruth when he in the two seasons they did together, Eckes destroyed him. And the big argument that everyone gives Christian Eckes, I love to hear is, oh well, he was in trucks for 6 years. So let's really quickly, just really short, diagnose what his seasons were like. 2020 was the COVID year with KBM. 2021, he went to ThorSport as a part-time driver and won. Then he got a full-time ride at ThorSport in 2022 as the fourth truck almost made the Final Four. Then he makes it, or then he misses the Final Four by a couple points at Homestead in 23, or yeah, Homestead in 2023 with McAnally. Then goes to the finale in 24. goes to Xfinity in 25. Season starts horrible. Call League looks terrible. But guess what? End of the season comes along. Christian Eckes has the numbers, has the speed. He was the only one of those three anywhere close to the top 15 in points. I think Christian Eckes deserves a little more love than that. I'm gonna go with the same thing I gave Brent Cruz for the opposite reason because I think he's much more cup ready, but I don't think he's as like raw talented as Brent Cruz. I should clarify. So I'm gonna go 70, Christian Eckes.
See, I think that's where our lists disagree a little bit. It's all for me. It's all about talent. You know what I mean? I'm not taking into consideration cup readiness. So like, I wouldn't give like Justin Allgaier a 100 because he's absolutely cup ready, but yeah, I don't think he has quite the talent
He's
to
been
be like
cup
a
ready for 10 years.
yeah, yeah. So like, I can't be super high on Eckes when and again, you mentioned the Caruth comparison. I think with your argument, you kind of went along with what I said. I just think Eckes, being a lot more experienced, should be able to beat Caruth. So I don't know. I feel like I see a little more talent out of Caruth, and I think it actually works in Caruth's favor that we've seen less because with Eckes, we've had a longer time span of him just being decent, whereas with Caruth, we have yet to see like really where he can peak. I feel like Eckes has reached his peak at this
I
point.
I just find it hard to say that he's reached his peak when the guy had 20 was it 22 top tens in 23 races in 2024 in trucks and was beating Corey Heim, who everyone said was so much better than him. So, which say what you want. I'm not saying Corey Heim is worse than Christian Eckes. What I'm saying is that we need to put a little more respect on his name. But we can agree to disagree, I suppose. What I don't think we'll disagree upon is this next driver we have is Austin Hill, driver of the 21 for RCR and Xfinity. Obviously, a great plate racer. No one will deny his plate racing talent. I think he's a great road racer too, if I had to be honest. But he is the definition of a ninth place driver, in my opinion.
Um, 10. That's his talent rating. I give him a 10.
10?
Yeah, I give him a 10. Honestly, I don't think Austin Hill has the talent. I don't think he does. I think he's a great plate racer, as you mentioned. I think if he goes to Cup, he could actually win a couple of races. But in terms of the talent, and I know that sounds crazy. If you think he can win races in Cup, why do you give him a 10? It's because I think if you put him in the right car, he can win some super speedway races. But I think at his peak, I don't think he's going to do anything else in Cup. I don't see the talent at these other racetracks to go and get it done. So just for me, for Austin Hill, I just give him a 10. I'm not feeling the talent out of him.
I'm gonna have to disagree, and I'm a guy who doesn't even like him. To be blunt, I'm not an Austin Hill fan by any means,
You're definitely not.
but
That's
I
for sure.
will I will be unbiased in this meter here. I'm gonna give him a 60. Um, I think I have to give him a 60. A lot of the same reason for Eckes. He's much more cup ready than most of the guys he's racing. Um, he also does have both of those track types that I listed as races that I think if at the cup level he could win on a given day. Maybe not a road course with SVG in the series, but you get my point. Like a random day happens, he's running up front, SVG's taken out, he could steal one, right? That's my thing. I think he's good enough, but he's like if you put him in Cup right now, he runs 30th. I think that's just the ceiling I see.
Exactly.
So, um, but I will give him respect. I'll give him a 60. The next driver up is going to be an interesting debate here. So, highly touted coming out of ARCA in 2024. Rookie in the 2025 Xfinity Series season. He's back for 2026, but he is going to be on a much shorter leash this season. It's William Sawalich. So this
Mm,
guy was right next to Zilich all of ARCA, and we've seen what happened with Zilich. Now, I'm not saying that Sawalich has to live up to that. That is quite the standard.
no.
But not only what do you think of him, but do you expect him to be as bad as he was at the start of 2025?
I don't. So Sawalich for me, I'm gonna give him a pretty good grade on the spectrum. I'm gonna give him about a 70 in talent. I think he has a lot of talent. I think last year he performed pretty bad in the Xfinity series. I think we can both agree on that. But the second half of the year, his performances were getting better and better. And so it might be a case of a driver who just got off to a slow start. And I think if you're a prospect, you can't afford to have a slow start. Like that's just not normal. If you're a prospect, most of the time you're going to come into a new series and immediately get it. And so it's a little concerning for Sawalich to not be able to show that kind of speed and talent early on in an Xfinity career. But I think next year he's going to be fine. And so coming into the year, I probably would have given him an 80 to 90, like a really good grade. But now I'm down in like the 70 range because I think he's lost a little bit. But I think he can still easily become a great driver one day.
I just think of an example like Cole Custer. You mentioned drivers usually pick it up right when they get to the series. Cole Custer took a little bit to adapt to the Xfinity cars, I remember. It took him probably about a year or so, maybe two, before he really got it down. So I'm not terribly worried. Again, obviously he has to drop a little bit because we had sky high expectations that he just frankly didn't meet, which that could be our fault, his fault, whatever way you want to slice it. But I'm going to give him a 70 as well. I think you still have to acknowledge the fact he is uber talented, and when he on his day, he is very fast. So I will give Sawalich a 70 on this list. Another Xfinity rookie from the 2025 season was the driver of the number one, Carson Kvapil. Obviously, his dad was a I don't know if I'd say famous NASCAR driver, but he was a prominent NASCAR driver
He
for
was certainly a driver.
he was
You
certain
are
that
correct.
he was a prominent driver in the series for about 10, 15 years. So I will give him his credit. Carson comes in, however, not living really off of his last name. He actually kind of had to earn his way into the series through his late model background. Got to Xfinity. He had a really solid year, to be honest. Made the Final Four, of course, which was probably the highest of highs that he was going to get with considering who he was racing for the title. But what do you think of Carson Kvapil?
I give Quapple quite a high grade as well. I would probably lean around a 70 for him. I think he's a supremely talented driver. I think anytime you've got racing blood in your veins, I know people are gonna you can call it nepotism, you can call it whatever you want. Racing runs in the blood. Look at the Elliots, look at the Earnhardts, and now the Wopples. I mean, something about being the
That's
son of a
that's a
race
I'm
car
sorry,
driver.
that's elite company to be putting that last
Yeah,
name.
but no, it is like when you have a father or even a grandfather that raced. I mean, Dale Earnhardt Sr. came from his dad as well, who raced. It's just something. It not only do you have the connection into the sport, but it seems like you have the talent as well. And so I think there's more to it than nepotism. I truly believe racing runs in the blood. And so and Carson Waffle, I'm gonna be honest, he looks more talented than his dad ever did. So I believe that there's a lot of talent out of Carson and I expect a lot of great things from him. I give him a 70.
Gotta wonder at what point though he will find Xfinity Series victory lane. Still hasn't quite done that.
That is kind of a wild fact.
That
I mean,
that
it's coming. It's
it,
coming.
it he will win at some point, I'm sure. Look out for Dover if you want an early prediction.
Look,
Uh,
this was a tough year to win an Xfinity race when you're dealing with Connor Zilisch and Justin Allgaier, one who is a generational talent, and then the other who is, Elliott Sadler 2.0. So it's kind of
that's
hard to actually go
disrespectful.
there.
That's
What?
disrespectful. I'm not even gonna
Elliott Sadler was a
We're
great
not
Xfinity
we're not
driver.
gonna
So
go
was
there.
Allgaier.
So I'm gonna backtrack on my sentence. I just realized Dover doesn't have a points race. I don't think in Xfinity this year, but he'll win somewhere. Carson will at least. But I will agree with you that he is higher on my rankings than most. But I'm gonna even him out to a 60 only because I need to see like he felt like he just kind of was there at points this season. I needed to see him more like apparent in my screen. So otherwise, I will put him in a 64 now. Next driver up, real quick, is Sammy Smith. Okay, I don't have a long thought out thing for him. I'm just gonna tell you my grade and move on with my day. I'm going to put him at a 40, and that's it.
Okay. I would have given him a 50, so a little bit higher. I think he was super highly touted coming out of the lower leagues, moving up into Xfinity, and then just hasn't really gone great for him in the Xfinity series yet. We've yet to really see him take the next step, but I still think he's a talented driver. I think the talent is still there. Maybe it's just one of those things where it takes a little bit of time, so I give him about a 50.
I am not
But
here
yeah,
to argue you about Sammy Smith. I'm going to just move on.
we're
The
in
next,
agreement. It sounds like.
huh?
We're in agreement for the most part. I give him a
Yeah, I mean,
little more credit than you do, but
pretty much in the same boat here. I think we'll be in the same boat for this one too. Our next one up is I guess a prospect. We have Sheldon Creed. Um, so Creed is going to be entering his fifth Xfinity Series season. He has been in the sport 9 years, 8 or 9 years.
long time.
Uh, Obviously he's an ARCA champion, I believe. I think, right? Did he win that? I don't remember. I think he won an
Not
ARCA
sure.
title. He was a truck champion. Has still not won an Xfinity. All that being said, what do you think of Sheldon Creed? What's his grade?
I give him a 10. I put him in the exact same boat as Austin Hill. I think actually Austin Hill might be a little more talented. I would maybe give Hill a 10 and Creed a 9 just because Creed has been in there longer and has done
They've been in there the
way
same amount of
less.
time.
Same amount of time. Yeah, somewhere around. Uh, Creed has been in, I think, the top three
Better.
leagues a long ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but either way, I think Hill has been in there and has done more. Creed has not really done anything, and so I think even though Creed has the truck title to kind of give him a little more credit, his Xfinity performance has taken it back down, and so I don't see it with Creed. I think he's going to become an Xfinity lifer. I don't see a move to Cup for him.
I'm going to give Sheldon Creed a 50, right below Austin Hill. I think the same logic you used. Again, a guy who, if we put him in Cup right now, he'd be fine. Like, he wouldn't be tearing up machinery or anything like that, but he'd be running 30th. So he just literally is the same driver to me, except he doesn't have that outlier track or skill or track type even to up his abilities. So I'll put Creed at a 50. Our next driver on this list is a much younger driver who has not been around nearly as long. It's Taylor Gray. He's won once now in Xfinity. He got that late season win at Martinsville, which I know a lot of people were very happy about. Never won in the Truck Series. Has always been very good in ARCA when he goes down there. All things considered, a 20-year-old driver. Uh, what do you feel of Taylor Gray?
I give him a 60, I'd say. I think I don't think he's like a supremely talented driver, like not a generational talent or anything. I don't think he's on the level of Swalich or Zilich. But I think he's a pretty good prospect. I give him about a 60. I think he has a lot of potential going forward.
He reminds me a lot of Carson Kvapil, like what I just said earlier. The only difference is that Taylor Gray has now won. So uh,
Yeah,
I think they're this basically just as good. They could both be Cup drivers in the future, by the way. I hope this doesn't come off. Some of these guys are good enough to go and progress to being Cup, but right now, as we sit, I'd put Taylor Gray at a 60. Um, he's just kind of he kind of needs like a few drivers to just have a season without somebody lighting the world on fire to be able to actually judge how good or bad he might be. But hopefully good for his sake. The next one up, although does not get the same slack. The next one's Daniel Dye. Uh,
mm,
I'm going to tell you my grade for him is a 20. I think that's the low. Is that the lowest I've given so far? It's pretty
I
close.
think it is. Yeah,
Uh, yeah, I don't know. Daniel Dye had a really solid ARCA season going when he was competing for that title, and then the whole thing that we're not going to get into on here. Uh, if you want, go look that up. But Daniel Dye has that whole thing happen. Eventually comes back. He gets the trucks. Wasn't very good in trucks. Stayed there for a couple of years. Then got to Xfinity this past year. Wasn't very good in Xfinity. Now he's back down in trucks. I just don't really see it.
I don't either. I'm in a complete agreement. I give him about a 20. I think I think some of the talent is still there, a little bit more so than Austin Hill and Sheldon Creed. Dye has been obviously in the top three leagues for a lot less time than them. But I don't really see it out of him. He's really faltering, and I think in a couple years he's going to be right with Austin Hill and Sheldon Creed in terms of just not really getting anything done, and maybe an Xfinity lifer, truck lifer, who knows.
This next one's gonna go really fast, but not because he's bad. It's just Corey Heim. Uh, I think we're in agreement he's in 100, right? I mean, like, are you not gonna give him that high
I
of a
give him a
grade?
99.
Are you
I'm
just
I'm gonna
excusing it because of
I'm gonna reserve 100 for the best of the best. So if we were doing Connor Zilic, I would have given him 100. Corey Heim, I give a 99 just because I don't think he's quite on the level of like a Connor Zilic. But he's literally right below him, obviously 1 point below him in the prospect grading. So I would give Corey Heim a 99. I think he's fantastic. And you know what? A lot of people are saying Connor Zilic is is a generational prospect. And I do believe that he is better than Corey Heim, but I think Corey Heim has a real chance to catapult himself above Zilic in the coming years because he's a little bit older, has a little more experience. And I think if when Heim moves up to Cup, and if he starts outperforming Zilic, there's going to be a lot of serious conversations to be had. And so I think there's a lot at stake between those two. I think they're both incredibly talented, and I'm excited to see that rivalry.
we'll see. He reminds me a lot of a Denny Hamlin, if that makes sense, without the personality. Like the driving ability seems a lot like Denny Hamlin. Run down clean laps, really fast. Just everywhere you go, he's really good. And he's good pretty quick. He adapted very quickly. So I don't know. Corey Heim screams just gonna be a cup champion to me. That just like feels like such a right thing to say. I'm giving him an 100 because again, we're not ranking Zilich, so I'm not gonna act like we are. That's why I will give him the 100. But I understand your argument as to why
Yeah.
not.
He's the only prospect we've done so far that if I had to bet money on a driver winning a championship, he's the first prospect we've done where I would probably lean he's going to win a championship.
I think he's the only one I can confidently say would win a cup championship of the guys we've said. I don't know. It's the only guy. I
Yeah.
don't even consider it. I don't know if any of these other guys would. I mean, maybe in the future if we see Brent Cruz, maybe if but he's just really young, so
Yeah.
it is hard
Like
to
guys
tell with
like
him.
Brent Cruz and Carson Voipel, I think have the talent to do so, but I would still lean I would still need to see more before I can lean they're going to win a championship like I would for Corey Heim because I think he will win a cup title at this point.
I'm 23 years old and with 4 years of experience has a lot more under his belt to aid him. This next one is a very interesting prospect. It's Chandler Smith. He was very, very highly touted a couple of years ago, and all the hype died down, and he has not picked it back up. He lost his ride, a colleague, then he was lost. He went to Gibbs, was it out at Gibbs, went to Trucks, seemed kind of 50-50 in Trucks. I don't know how I feel about him. What I do feel is a 40 at this point.
What grade did I give Christian Eckes?
I think you gave him a 40 or a 50.
I would give Chandler Smith a 51. No, I'm playing. I'm playing. I would give Chandler Smith. I just put him one above. I think Chandler Smith is very similar to Christian Eckes in the way that I've kind of lost confidence in their ability to become great drivers. So I would probably give him a 30 or 40. Probably well, you went a 40, right? I'd probably be in agreement with you and also give him a 40. I just don't see much out of him right now. Just I need to see more. I feel like some of the talent and the light with prospects, it feels like a lot of times we're talking about lightning in the bottle, and I feel like the lightning has started to leave the bottle for him.
I just think he is the one driver that reminds me a lot of just wrong place, wrong time with everywhere he's been. And he's now kind of found himself in a really bad situation. Like front row trucks is a really good spot, but like there's nowhere to go. So
Mhm.
that's kind of the position he finds himself in. Um, okay. The next driver up on this list is the now defending NASCAR Xfinity Series champion. That is Jesse Love.
Mm.
I think he's the only other driver I can confidently put in the 90s. That's why I'm going to give him a 90.
I would also give Jesse Love a 90. I love what I see out of him. I think he's I don't think he's quite on the level of Zilich or Heim. I would probably give if I was to do a podium of prospects right now and we were including Connor Zilich would be on the top step, Corey Heim would be in second, Jesse Love would be in third. That would honestly be I think that's a realistic ranking of kind of where the prospects lie right now. I love what I see out of Jesse Love, and so I would give him about a 90. I think he has a lot of potential. A little bit scared of him ending up in the RCR
That would
pipeline.
be, yeah, that'd
Um,
stink. That would stink.
please get out while you still can.
Leave,
Get
leave,
out while you still can. Get yourself in
leave.
a good ride. Don't let your career go to die at RCR, please.
I heard LMC was looking to hire him if they could, and that would
Please.
be
Please.
while
Look,
it
we've
would
prayed
be.
for Georgia Tech on this show before. Can we pray for
You
Jesse
want to pray
Love?
for Jesse Love here? We'll pray
Really?
for Jesse Love. Here, we'll pray. We'll pray for Jesse Love.
Thank you.
Okay, we've prayed for Jesse Love.
What is Sideline to Speedway? Like, what is this show?
What this is the show where we give out good energy to the people that deserve it.
Apparently.
Jesse Love deserves the good energy. So I have no problem praying for Jesse. Uh we'll look at the last six that I have here. A couple of these we'll speed through. This one probably as well. Jake Garcia, I'm gonna give him a flat 20 just because I have not seen anything out of trucks. He was good in a couple of starts in McAnally in 2023, I think it was. So like the flashes were there, but nothing's really come out of the pan yet.
I'll go with 30. I agree on most bases, yes.
The next one here I have is Brendan Queen. Just won the ARCA championship, going full-time truck racing next season. He's a little older for a prospect, but the prospect nonetheless. Obviously a phenomenal racer outside of the NASCAR sanctioned series. Um, what do you feel of him?
I'm gonna give him a 70. I think he
Whoa,
has a lot of talent.
whoa.
Yes, 70. He's not 70 cup ready, but in terms of talent, I like him a lot. I think he has a lot of potential and a lot of talent. Give me a 70 for him. I know that seems high, but my list is almost strictly what I think their potential is and what I think their talent and upside could be.
Brendan Queen 40 for me. And I know that might feel low for some people, like, oh, he just won the ARCA championship. Uh, I don't know. I'm not convinced because I mean we all know ARCA. I mean, not a knock on the drivers in that series, but most of the teams don't have the equipment to be able to compete at the front of the field on a week in week out basis. So I feel like that championship holds a little less weight than people maybe want to give it credit for. Um, Although I think he's a talented driver, I should see more of him, and being older gives him a little less of an edge. Although I don't think that hurts. That doesn't hurt him in the ranking. I'm just saying it is worth mentioning for teams that are looking to employ in the future. Um, Next name up here is Nick Sanchez. Uh, Nick is in his second Xfinity season. This coming, sorry, second O'Reilly Auto Parts season.
Yeah.
This coming year.
Corey Heim Truck Series season.
Yeah. He's in his second season in the series. Won at Atlanta. Didn't do much in the playoffs. Um, didn't do much really all season. It felt like besides that win. What are you thinking of Nick Sanchez?
I think he's so similar to someone else that we did earlier on the show.
Give me
I
the rating. I
cannot
might
rem-
be able to tell you who you're thinking of.
name some of the early ones,
I mean,
and I'll tell you.
we went over Caruth. We talked about Eckes and
Caruth.
Sawalich.
That's who it is.
Caruth.
I think he's similar to Caruth in a way that if you asked me 12, 18 months ago, I would have said 70 or 80. But I just feel like there's been a little bit of a fall off for Nick Sanchez. I would probably lean 50 to 60 right now. I still think he has a lot of talent and a lot of speed. Maybe he's just hitting a bit of a dry spell, here in the Truck Series. I'm not sure, but I'd like to see a little more from him going forward. I'd give him probably a 60. I'd go.
It's hard to rank him for me because like I gave Caruth. I think I gave Caruth a 50. I think I went with you on that. I don't remember. But I would probably put him about as good as Caruth. I think Caruth had less highs in trucks, but I think that his overall raw ability can be better. I think they're about the same, honestly, if you ask me as a
I put
driver.
Sanchez a little ahead of Caruth. I think he has more speed and
I,
talent, but they're close.
they're basically on par with each other. They fought for obviously an ARCA title together. I'm gonna give Sanchez a 50 as well. He could go higher, but I just need to see it happen. Basically, is the only thing. Uh, the last three names on this list. We're at the end of this list. Ready? Caden Honeycutt is next. I am really hard pressed to find a driver that I am more excited to see them in a good truck than Caden Honeycutt this coming season. But I can't rank on a hypothetical when it comes to some of my lists. So that knocks him a little bit. However, he was great, obviously, last season. I'm going to give him a 40, but that is a 40 that I am expecting to be higher next season.
I also give him a 40. Um, I think I'm a little more down on him than a lot of people are. Um, and so by the talent spectrum, I would normally have him up to 70 or 60, but I just don't think he has quite that amount of talent. He's unproven. We mentioned that, but for my list, that doesn't matter. The reason he has a 40 is because I don't think he has the extreme talent that a lot of people do. I haven't seen it yet. So he has some work to do to prove me.
We'll have to see. He's got a tri-contract this season, so he's got more than enough resources to do it. Uh, second to last name on this list, a driver who was also fighting for a Final Four spot at Martinsville just about a month ago, was Lane Riggs, the front row 34. What do you think of Lane? I will tell you, I personally am very 50-50 on him.
I've noticed that you don't know. You're a little lower on Lane Riggs than a lot of people. I would give him a 60 right now because I think he had a great year last year in the Corey Haim Truck Series. I think he has a lot of speed and talent. Honestly, I do. I knew almost nothing about him going into the Truck Series, but his performance in the Truck Series has proved to me that he's a pretty good prospect that has some upside and potential. So I'd give him a 50.
Wait, 50 or 60? You changed it there.
Did I say 60 first time?
You said 60 first time, I think.
We'll go 60
You're gonna go
then. We'll
60.
go
All right, we're going
55. We'll go
55. You're
55.
gonna
We'll meet in the middle.
meet in the middle here. You know, I'm gonna meet in the middle as well. I'm gonna go 55 myself. Um, I will say it's impressive that he had the moments to be able to keep up and beat Corey Heim, but it was inconsistent, and that's kind of the story of his entire season and why he missed the Final Four to begin with. Um, I don't know. I think it's there, but I need to see an entire season put together from Lane in the Truck Series, not like it's Xfinity in the Truck Series, to be able to be like, okay, he's a higher prospect for me. He's also a little older of a prospect than some of these other drivers. Not old by any means, but compared to some of the other drivers we've ranked, he suffers from that. No, that same thing. Um, and the last name on this list here before we change gears is one that I did tell you would be last, and that is Sam Mayer. You said that your podium of prospects would be Zilich, Heim, and then Love. This is the only guy I think that you could sit here and be like, could they knock one of those three off that steps?
I have been riding the Sam Mayer train for years. I have been a big Sam Mayer believer. And so I give him a 90 on the prospect list. I think he's fantastic. I saw what he did against guys like Ty Gibbs and Corey Heim in the lower leagues. And to me, I just think he got off to a slow start in the Xfinity series. And last year, his season was riddled with tons of DNFs. I mean, he might have been in the double digits in DNFs. It was ridiculous. And so I think now that he has gone to Haas and has kind of taken away the DNFs and has instead taken a more consistent tone, I think that's just so impressive from him because the thing that I've been so high on him, the thing that for years I've been so high on him with was his speed, but he needed the consistency. And last year with Haas, he did that. He didn't have a car that could go out and consistently win on a week to week basis, but he was able to go and be a consistent top 5 to 10 driver every single weekend. And so Sam Mayer to me is a phenomenal prospect who I don't think has the outright speed of Love, Zilich, and Heim, but he's right behind them. I give
Do you? I have to ask. Do you have Mayer and Love on that like little? If we had to envision it, do you have Mayer and Love sharing the third place spot on that podium? Are they like standing next to each other and like
Sam Mayer is eating the feet of Jesse Love. Maybe he has a foot fetish. I don't know, but he is like
that is
right
a
there on
weird thing to
Jesse
put into the universe. I did not. Okay.
Bro, all right, I'm sorry.
We're gonna speed past that. I will
Love
say
earlier and now.
my thoughts on him. I have him at a 80, and the only reason I'm gonna put him at an 80 is because he just something feels like it's missing. It could be the car, it could be him. I don't know, but not making the final four definitely didn't help. Um, I don't know. I something just feels a little off, and I can't give him the same rating I gave Love, who won the championship, and I think higher of. So I'm gonna go with Mayer at an 80, but I think he's the last guy that of those four that we mentioned that could go cup racing right now and be successful within a season or two. I would say. So that's where I think he falls for me, but we'll leave it up to you guys. I want you guys to tell us down below if you think there's a prospect we missed that we should talk about. Obviously, we had a plentiful list. We cut it down to 20 for time's sake, but let us know what your thoughts are below if we missed anyone and if there's any ratings that we were horribly wrong on of these prospects. But all is pending to change as they are prospects. So, what isn't a prospect, what isn't a thought of idea, what is true, what is fact, is that we are headed to Abu Dhabi with a championship fight. It is Norris. It is Verstappen. It is Piastri. All three of them. And we thought it'd be a two-horse race. No, it is three. Someone counted them out. Someone counted out a certain driver in a Red Bull camp. Someone said there was a 0% chance when he was over 90 back that he has a chance at the championship. That someone is Parker Merrey. So
Yes.
before I ask for your predictions or anything of that nature, do you want to explain yourself?
I will I owe an apology to all of you viewers here at home because there have been some things said on this podcast, some very dramatic thoughts and opinions. Some from me, some from you, and I do expect something from you later on in the show as well, but we're going to talk about that a little later. But I want to apologize for the viewers because I underestimated how incredibly bad McLaren is. I didn't realize how bad they could be. I didn't know they were this bad to where they cannot pit under safety car. I didn't know they were this bad to where they can't give Oscar Piastri a fast car. I didn't know that they were this bad where Lando Norris, a guy who I thought is nowhere near Oscar Piastri's level, can come up and completely take over the #1 role at McLaren. I had no idea that McLaren was this self-destructive, where they go from having by far the fastest car to now being worse than the Red Bull, arguably worse than the Mercedes. I mean, they're getting beat by a Williams at Qatar. Like a lot of people are going to say I need to give a lot of credit to Verstappen, and I do give credit to Verstappen. I think it's a great comeback from him. But you get the Red Bull car. This is not. I don't think this is quite on the level of say Kimi's 2007 comeback, just because Kimi in 2007 had a worse race car for not only the first half but the second half as well. The McLaren was better, and his competitors were at the time two-time champion Alonso and at the time zero-time champion Hamilton, but someone who had the best rookie campaign of any F1 driver ever. So I think this, to me, this says more about just how ridiculous McLaren is. I mean, we knew that team was a little dysfunctional. I didn't know they were this bad. So I owe an apology to the viewers for counting Max Verstappen out because McLaren is just wow. They've exceeded my expectations for
You
how
know,
bad they can fumble the title.
it's funny because I told you in the same breath a month ago, or 3 months ago, not a month ago, 3 months ago, when we had this discussion if Verstappen could make this comeback, and I said to you, I was like, keep in mind that McLaren is known for historically being able to throw away the easiest wins and championships you could ever imagine. We talk about Ferrari, McLaren's right up there. They are the 1-2. They one gets one year, next one next year. So watch out for Ferrari next year. But yes, McLaren is historic for this, and they did it to a driver before who was chasing from behind and really should have had zero opportunity at the championship. Now, once again, McLaren has allowed this to be a three-horse race when it shouldn't be. Obviously, there will be no Spygate this time, but there will be a fight in Abu Dhabi. So, I will quickly ask you, do you think this championship is going to be decided at the end of the race, or do you think that the moment that we hit the ground and we start running cars on the track for practice, we're going to have a good idea of who's taking the championship?
So here is the problem um with the championship for Max Verstappen. And the problem is that Lando Norris has Oscar Piastri as a sidekick at this point. I know a lot of people are viewing this title as a three-horse race. I don't believe it is. I believe that when the time comes to the end of the race, when Oscar Piastri is basically out of title contention, Piastri would need to win the race and hope that Norris and Verstappen both. Well, actually, Verstappen could finish second with Piastri winning, but he would need Norris to finish, I believe, sixth or lower.
Yes.
So he needs a kind of a disaster out of Lando Norris. I don't think that if we get a disaster out of Lando Norris, it's probably going to be Max's title. So I'm not sure how likely it is that Verstappen wins the title just because if it comes down to the end of the race where Norris needs a position, McLaren can put Oscar Piastri on an alternative strategy
Quote
to kind of
unquote.
get not be frowned upon for team orders. And then they can say, "Oh, Piastri, we need you to come into the pits for this time. Let Norris through." Norris goes on and wins the title. So to me, this championship it could very well come down to the end. I think it will probably come down to the end. Red Bull has the best car right now, and Verstappen's the best out of these three drivers. And so to me, I have no doubt that Verstappen's going to win this weekend at Abu Dhabi. But I do see Lando Norris actually taking this championship at the end because all he needs is a podium, right? Let's say first it's Verstappen first, George Russell second. Who do we see outrunning Norris to get third?
It'd have to be his
His
teammate
teammate
in
Oscar
theory.
Piastri?
Yeah.
What?
I said it in theory would have to be his teammate.
Yeah, and I don't think that's going to happen. So then it would come down to can a Ferrari beat Norris for the podium? I don't think so. Can Carlos Sainz beat um, Lando Norris for the podium? Don't think so. Can Kimi Antonelli beat Lando
The
Norris
only
for
one
a
who could,
podium?
I think.
Maybe. The Mercedes is probably the second quickest car right now. So
That's a
it kind of
bold
comes down.
statement, but
It's a
continue.
bold statement, but I believe I'll say this: team plus car, Mercedes is second. I'll put it that way. They seem to be because the team strategy is good, and
I
so
think
that kind of.
McLaren, I will say, I think McLaren is still the fastest car, but I think they are functioning like the third best team of the three. I just,
You
I,
still think they're the fastest car?
I still think they're the fastest car. I think it's close, but I think they're still the fastest car. I just think that Red Bull is functioning better. Mercedes is definitely functioning better. So they're showing how much weaker they are now that we've hit the point in the season where points matter, all this matters. McLaren at the start of the season, they're able to be mistake prone because the championship's still early on. Now, pressure comes on, we see what happens with McLaren. So
I don't know. I feel like that Red Bull's on another level right now. Like we're seeing Max dominate races like he hasn't done all year, and we're seeing Yuki Tsunoda get up in the points like we haven't seen all
we'll
year. I feel like the
look
Red Bull is on another
either
level. But
either way. That part doesn't matter at this juncture because what matters at this juncture is who's going to take the championship, and we got one race to decide it. So I'm gonna ask you this. We'll even say this together so we can find out side by side what we think this will go like. I always ask you for your podium picks, so we're gonna do it. But we're gonna go 1-1, and then 2-2, 3-3. Who do you
okay,
have taking victory in Abu Dhabi?
never mind. So at my number one spot, I'm going to have Max Verstappen taking the win at Abu Dhabi. I think, as I mentioned before, I think Red Bull has the best car. I think Verstappen's the best out of those three, talent wise, driver wise, everything. So I think it's a perfect combination, and it has this race has title implications and title pressures, and nobody has dealt with that except Max of these three. You could argue maybe Norris did last year. I don't think so. I think Verstappen has the experience, speed, talent, and race car underneath him to win this race this weekend.
I'm in agreement. I think Verstappen wins. What is this going to be? His 70? Is this his 70th? 71st?
I'm not sure on the
It's
win
it's
count, but
about
it would
it's
be.
about there, right? Like it's right about there. So Max Verstappen is going to continue to win races, and he will win at Abu Dhabi. Um, I will wait to see and tell you if he wins the championship. I guess you'll find out through my podium if he does or does not. But I'll go first with second place. Uh, I think runner up this weekend is going to be Oscar Piastri. So
Mm,
I think it is going to be Verstappen beating Piastri to the line, uh, on probably a late race safety car, because we know how those like to happen when we have title
oh,
fights in Abu Dhabi. So I'm gonna go Verstappen and then Piastri.
I don't want to. I will tell you right now, I don't want to see
I don't want it.
Verstappen win a title
I
off
don't want it.
Bottas.
I
I
don't want
just
it. But I'm just
because
telling you.
even though, as you know, I'm not the biggest Max fan, I want to see him get a title, like just off of going out and just beating the other driver. You know what I mean? I don't want to see another 2021 safety car thing. I'd be more than happy if Max goes out there and just straight up beats the McLarens, and there's not a McLaren on the, or sorry, Norris is not on the podium. So Piastri could still get second, and Max would be champion. But anyway, um, my second place finisher, I'm going to go George Russell. I believe the Mercedes is very
Mm.
good right now. And I think the McLarens are going to be very conservative in this race to make sure that because here's the best way for Red Bull to win this championship. If Norris and Verstappen start racing and Max forces Norris into an issue. I mean, we know how Max is. He could be the guy to go for a late move in the corner and hope that Norris, crashes into him, takes himself out of the race. Max is good at putting you in bad situations, and so McLaren is going to be very conservative to stay out of trouble. So I see George Russell having a pretty good race because of that, and I think he gets second in the Mercedes.
I guess then this means the championship does come down to this position, right? Because we both have Verstappen winning. I
Yeah,
have Piastri second. You have Russell second. Still haven't said the name of the guy leading the points. Are you going to say his name for third?
third place. Look, it's been a long time for McLaren. It has. Well, let's think about all the chaos
You're
that
going to
is
drag
that is.
this out. It's just going to be. Are you going to.
Well, 2012, McLaren has a phenomenal race car, right? It's the quickest car by far, but they don't have the reliability to win that title. 2010 comes down to the last couple races. Lewis Hamilton had a tire issue in Barcelona, arguably cost him the title. Had some incidents. He ended up losing it. Jenson Button just wasn't good enough either at the end. Had a couple late crashes. 2007, the absolute fumble of the century. And I want to focus on 2007 a little bit because I think, as we mentioned, there's a lot of parallels between 2007 and this year. And what happened in 2007? Can you tell the viewers to give them a little context?
Both McLarens with by far the fastest car all season, fighting for the championship. The older driver, who is established and the clear leader of the team, trying to beat the young driver trying to take over the team and take over the sport, and would have won his first championship at a very young age. With a
Hmm.
third driver lurking in the background all season, didn't really seem like a threat until McLaren started doing McLaren things, and then they became a factor and then won the championship.
Hmm. So it was a Kimi who ruined McLaren's championship hopes that year, right?
Oh my God.
My third place finisher is not going to be Kimi Antonelli. It's going to be Lando Norris. I think Lando Norris comes
Okay.
across the line and the
Okay.
podium
He
place
he
to clinch the championship. I had you there
man.
for a second, didn't I?
Man.
I had you
No,
going there.
I was like I was sitting there, I thought you were gonna give the viewers something to be excited about, and then you just like pooped in their bed. Like I mean, that
What?
was just
That was an intense moment. I gave them a lot to
no,
be proud
man.
of.
I mean, like you just got them all excited. You got me excited, and I was like, oh, you're gonna say Kimi Antonelli on podium this weekend. That would have been a cool in itself. And then no, ruin all the fun. So
Sorry.
whatever.
I just
No,
got to be realistic. You know what I mean?
listen.
I
I
wanted to
understand.
say Kimi Antonelli for the storyline, but I feel like
Listen,
this
I
makes
understand. I'm not saying Kimi Antonelli gets third either. I understand. I'm not about that. I'm about the fact that I believe Charles Leclerc is standing on a podium this weekend, and that
yeah,
Max Verstappen is taking this championship. I think
yeah.
that if you want the one team that can manage to mess up into glory for another team to mess up again, it is the Ferrari. The only team that knows how to mess up as good as McLaren does is Ferrari. So how do you counteract that? By trying to actually be bad and then be good. So Ferrari is going to bring a good enough car for Leclerc to steal another podium away from Lando Norris, and we are going to watch Max Verstappen win his fifth straight drivers' championship in Abu Dhabi. It's poetic, isn't it? Right?
Wow, it is somewhat poetic. There are. That's so. Where do you have Norris finishing?
I have him finishing in fourth.
Wow, wow. Well, there you have it. There are championship picks. But before you try to close this off here, I know you're in a rush to get out the door and finish up this podcast because you want to get out of here before you have to address the viewers. But I'm not going to let you. I'm going to stop you before you can get away. Carlos Sainz has been the victim of insane slander by you the entire podcast season. And quite frankly, I'm sick of it. A lot of other people are sick of it. And Carlos Sainz this past weekend at Qatar picked up his second podium of the year. How many podiums does his teammate Alex Albon have? Oh, you're not even gonna. Okay, okay. Well, yes, Sainz is beating him in podiums, and at this point, he's 9 points behind. He might outpoint Alex Albon after all the talk you were talking up. So, I think you might owe the viewers an apology. Are you going to stand on business, or are you going to give in to the slander?
There are three things certain in life.
Oh, no.
There are death, taxes, and there is Carlos Sainz being overrated by the media. I stand on my opinion. I stand on it. I don't think what I said was wrong. Now, I don't think I think what I said got blown a little out of proportion. I wasn't saying he was a bad driver. He deserves his F1 seat for sure. But
Of
but
course, he deserves an F1 seat.
but
That says
there
nothing.
is there are multiple things that I could go on at full length about as to why he is overrated by the media. There is a literal clip of a Sky Sports, I think it was a what's it, a podcast or an interview. I don't remember what in particular, but you can look it up. I think it was, I don't remember if it was Damon Hill or somebody. They said Carlos Sainz was the next Nico Rosberg, the next Jenson Button. Keep in mind, two former World Drivers champions, guys who won plenty Grand Prix in their career, and he's saying he's on the same level as them. For what? For what? And I could I that is my that like that things like that is what leads me to believe that he's overrated by the media. I'm not saying he's bad. He is a smart driver. He in his own mind made the right call at Silverstone when he got his first win. I don't deny that. He outdrove everybody when he won it. Was it Australia last year in the Ferrari? No, yeah. I will give him the credit for his wins, but he is overrated by the media. That is my final stance. I believe he's overrated and that Carlos Sainz is not a top 5 driver in the sport like some people want to say he might be.
Well, let me ask you a question before we close out. Who do you think is a better driver, Carlos Sainz or Alex Albon?
I think it depends on the track. I think it depends on the car. I think it also depends on where in the field they're running, to be honest with you. But
Overall,
I
neutral
will
situation, who's
I
better?
will take Albon. I will take Albon 6 out of 10 times. I think if we ran a 20 race season, I think Albon wins 12-8.
Oh. All right, so I disagree with you on that front, and I'm going to tell you why. Carlos Sainz is a multi-time F1 winner. Carlos Sainz comes into a new team, Williams, which is Albon's home, and the first half of the season went rough. He was figuring out the team, dialing himself in. Second half of the year, he's picked up 2
Look,
podiums
look,
and has
look,
been
look,
wiping
look,
the floor
look,
with Alex
look,
Albon.
look. This is the
I don't
thing.
think there's any way you could say Albon's better.
But this is my thing. I don't think Alex Albon's really trying. I think
Oh
Williams.
my
No,
gosh,
I
what?
think I think Williams and Alex Albon, and you can probably Signs too. I'm not gonna deny it. Probably Signs too. They're all focused on 26. What is there left to focus on for this season? We have new regulations coming in. They were obviously starting to say they said early in the year they were focusing on a new car. They said that. That's a real thing. You said it. You were the one who mentioned
Yeah,
that.
no,
So
I'm not denying that. But
so
so
I
how does
think
Carlos Sainz have 2 podiums?
I
How is he
think
outrunning Albon this
I
bad?
also think he's better at the tracks that we've ran. I'll be honest. I do think he's better at the tracks that we've ran that he got those podiums at. I'll be honest. I think that Signs. That's why I said Signs in a 20 race season would beat Albon 8 of the 12 times or 8 of the 20 times. I think that would be like I think they're pretty close. I'm not saying that they're far apart, but I think Alex Albon's a little better. Honestly, that's my honest opinion.
Wow. I think next year is definitely going to be because then Sainz will have
Well,
a full Williams year under his belt.
if
Next year is going to be a big year
if
in that
Signs
battle.
goes into next season, as they've both been tenured at the team now, and he destroys Albon, it's a different discussion. But I don't think that'll happen. That's why I am still gonna hold on to my opinion. But I actually wasn't even gonna end the show on this note. Which was funny. I actually had something else I wanted to say before we ended it out. So,
Okay.
2 things. For one, because I need to get my forever famous full top 10 predictions in here. So let me do that
That's
real
right.
quick. Of course, as I mentioned, we have Verstappen, Piastri, Leclerc on the podium, and Norris fourth. I think Russell will be fifth. I think, I always leave Antonelli out of the top 6. I'm not doing it this week. Give me Antonelli sixth. I will give him his respect. Um, I don't know. I'm confident that the Haas is going to show up a little fast this weekend. I don't know why. So I'm going to go
Hmm.
with Behrman eighth, and Behrman seventh, and Ocon ninth. They'll be separated by one car, and that one car will be a Williams. I think Sainz will score this weekend. I think he's pretty good here. So I'll give him an eighth, and I will give a 10th place finish to Lance Stroll. That's who I'm going to go
What?
with. I'm going to go Lance Stroll gets points this weekend. I
Hmm.
wanted to spice it up for our viewers. Um, but yeah, I'm going to go Lance Stroll getting his last point of the season and the last point that anyone will score because he crossed the line last of all the point scorers. So
Yeah.
give me Lance Stroll
Hmm.
for 10th. The other thing I wanted to say before we close out here was, did you enjoy the 2025 Formula One season as it comes to a close?
Absolutely. I think at times it was kind of hard to it's kind of hard for us to like live in the moment and say we're watching a great season right now because I think 10 years from now this is going to be considered a fantastic season of F1. I think it's hard for us because 2 out of our 3 championship protagonists are highly flawed. So it's like we're not watching the best of the best right now. We're watching Max Verstappen, one of the best, versus Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri, who have a rocket ship but don't know how to use it, and have a team that's super incompetent as well. And so, but I think we need to just put that and just realize, we're watching a crazy comeback. We're watching a three-way title fight in the finale, something that we hardly ever see. We have not seen more than two drivers in the title fight since that 2010 season where
2012.
we had, of course, four.
Oh, was it 20? Wasn't it 2012? Or was it already out?
What year?
2012?
There's only two that
There's
year.
only two? Okay, I didn't know if it was just
Yeah.
Alonso and Vettel that year.
Yeah, so we have not seen something like this in 15 years. So that this is I think we all just need to step back, take a look at what we've got, and what we've got right now is great. I think the cars are kind of flawed. The racing is not as good as it could be, but the title fight is still fantastic. And so I've enjoyed this season a lot.
Well, that'll do it for me. Unless you got anything else, that is all I got.
I got one thing to say. The ball is not in Max Verstappen's court. It's not in Oscar Piastri's court. It's not in Lando Norris's court. The ball right now is in Carlos Sainz's court. If he can get a fifth place finish this weekend, he will officially outpoint Alex Albon, outpodium Alex Albon, have more career wins than Alex Albon, have a better overall resume than Alex Albon, and he's done all
So that
this
is going to wrap
in
up
Alex
Sideline the
Albon's
Speedway
Williams
here on
team.
episode
No, 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 no.
13
The
of
ball
the
is in his court.
Motorsports. Thank you guys so much for joining me and Parker, Merrey once again. And as always, next week we will look at the F1 season that was, talking about the title fight. We're going to surprise you guys with what we do NASCAR-wise next week. We're going to make it a little surprise. We also have an extra surprise on the F1 side because just if you want a little spoiler as to what comes next week, check the date of next Friday and you'll have an idea of what we're going to talk about. So, without further ado, I've been Mekhi Winfrey, joined by Parker Merrey, and we will see you guys next week.
Thank you, guys.